Hi guys, Kim here, design team member with Swirlydoos Kit Club. Today I'm going to be working with the September project kit. It's a mini clock kit. We've got a 6-inch clock, 6-inch clock base, and we've got the clock mechanism, and we've also got some mica colors and some bling. I'm going to show you how to put the clock mechanism together before we do the project so that you'll know how to use this and put it together before you get your project together. Here's the base, and on the base you've got a couple of screws that you're going to have to take off. They're easy to twist off before you put the base into your clock. You've got a washer down there and a screw or a nut there and a tiny nut on the top, and then you've got a black rubber piece. So I'm going to screw these off. They screw off just like with your hand. You just twist them right off. They're not that tight. And you screw the bigger nut off, and you're going to take the washer off. You're going to leave the black rubber piece on. That's going to be the cushion between your clock and the base. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that base. Well, here's your 3 little pieces. Don't lose those, because then you won't be able to put your clock together. Okay, you're going to take your base with that black rubber piece still on there, and this is battery operated, by the way, and you're going to stick that into the bottom of your clock, and then you're going to take that washer and you're going to slip it on, and then you're going to take that nut and you're going to screw it on tight. That's what's going to hold your clock and your base together. And then you're going to put your hands on. You've got 3. The first one you want to use, it's got a raised back to it, and that's the way you want to put it on. You want to put that back down and you want to push it onto the white part of the piece sticking up through your clock, and you want to push it all the way down, and it's going to be secure on that base. And then you want to take your other hand that's just completely flat and you want to sit it on top of the other one, and they're going to fit snug onto that base. Just be careful, these hands are a little bit delicate and they do bend easy. Then you're going to take that little tiny nut and you're going to screw that on first. And then you're going to take your third hand, which is just going to be your second hand, and you're going to push that right down into the center. It's got this little piece on the back. It's a long piece and it pushes right down into the center. And that's how you put your clock together. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our base and we're going to prime it with some gesso first. And then we're going to use those mica watercolors on it after we decorate it. So just cover your base and make sure you cover the back of it and the sides of it. All right, once you've got it all covered, just give it a shot with the heat gun just to make sure it's completely dry. Next, what we're going to do with it is I'm going to do some stenciling on it. I'm going to use some 3D gloss gel and a Tim Holtz swirl floral mask is what I'm going to use. And we're only going to use it on half of it. And so we're going to put that down and make sure you get a good thick layer of 3D gloss gel down, because you really want the stencil to stand out. All right, so our stenciling is done. And then you just want to make sure you clean up any excess that you got on the sides of your clock. Just scoop it right up. And then you want to go ahead and start decorating your clock while your 3D gloss gel dries. I pulled out some really big roses from my stash, a couple of chippies, and a few other little trinkets. And once we're done, we're going to color it using those mica powders. So you want to make sure that all your embellishments are secured to your clock and dry before we start with the mica coloring it and misting it. The little teal flowers are from the September flower add-on kit. They're by Petaloo. They're great little flowers. Okay, so I've got all my embellishments on. I've got them arranged the way I want, and everything is all nice and secure, and my 3D gloss gel is dry to the touch, so I can go ahead and continue on with decorating my clock. What I'm going to do is cover it with another layer of gesso. My gloss gel is a little shiny and I don't want it shiny, so I'm going to cover that. And then I'm going to cover my flowers too, so that they'll pick up the mist and the mica powders the way that I really want them to. So, and I'm going to cover my chipboard as well too. I'm going to leave the teal flowers the way that they are, but everything else is going to get covered with a nice layer of gesso. And I'm going to make sure that that's all dry before I move on to my next step. Alright, so everything's all dry now, and now you see my gloss gel's not shiny anymore. I could have used a 3D matte gel as well, but for now we use that. Now it's time to use the mica colors, and I'm going to use a water brush for the mica colors because those are solid. So I just take my water brush, wet them a little bit, or you could always just put a drop of water on it. I put some water on my mat and worked it that way, and I just went in and I'm coloring my flowers and I'm coloring my chipboard. I'm also coloring the background of my clock. I'm adding color and then I'm taking away color with a wet baby wipe until I get it the right shade that I like. I'm using mostly the teals, the blues, the golds, and a little bit of the brown. But I'm going in and like I said, I'm coloring the background, I'm coloring my flowers, coloring my chipboard. I'm going to be coloring my metals as well. And then I'm just layering these colors. And then I'm going to use some mist. I used some mica powders that we got from a previous kit, and I made a mist with those. And so I'm spraying on some mist and I'm drying. I'm also using some primary elements that I made a mist out of too. And the key to all this is you do a layer, you dry, you do another layer, you dry, because your colors are going to intensify once they get dry. So you want to do that layer, you want to dry it, you want to see how it looks, and then you're going to go back and you're going to do another layer. So you can add here or there. And don't worry, if you add too much while it's still wet, just get that wet baby wipe out and just pick up some color. Then you can always go back in and add some. I added a little pink to it just because I'm a pink girl and I just wanted to add a little splash of brightness to it as well. So here's my clock right now. I'm pretty much happy with it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and add some more gold to it. I love the Prima Gold Mica Powder in a mist. I think it's such a great finishing color. So I'm going to go back in and I'm going to give it a little bit more mist with that gold just to finish it off for me. And we're going to give that, let that all dry. Make sure your flowers are all dry and get that gold in there. To me, it makes a big difference. And just touching up a little bit of color. It needed a little more teal in my opinion, so I just added a little more teal to it. Okay, there you have your clock. I really like how those big flowers came out. I didn't completely cover them, so you can still see some of the gesso in them. So they're kind of, you've still got some of that white in them as well. Okay, so now we're going to put our clock back together. I've put my base on, and now we're going to go ahead and put the hands on the clock. The second time around, I had a little more difficulty putting the hands on the clock, and so I kind of bent them. So please be careful when you put your hands on your clock. You put that washer down, you put your screw down, and tighten that as tight as you can to hand tighten it, because you want to keep your base securely on the back of your clock, especially when you go ahead and put that battery in and that clock starts its movement. Now you're going to get your hands down. Again, I had a little bit of a problem getting that first one in. It got a little stuck on me, but I finally got it in. And then you want to get that second one on too. You want to get that one as secure as well. And then you go ahead and get that little screw on. And here's a little tip: if you're decorating your clock, when you put your hands on the first time, mark off where your longest hand is going to be on your clock, and then that way when you're putting your embellishments down, you know you can't go past that line, or your hands on your clock won't be able to move. And then once you get your hands on there, as you see, I gave it a spin around just to make sure that my embellishments were not in the way and that my hands would be able to freely move around the clock. And you get that second hand on there, get that in nice and secure. And there we have our clock. There's our finished clock. And this is the September project kit for Swirlydoos Kit Club. Our September kit is Moments in Time. So please stop by our website at www.swirlydoos.com and check out all our kits plus our add-ons. If you aren't a member, you don't know what you're missing out on. You can join today, mention my name, Kim Hurd. You'll get 10% off your kit and a coupon good in our store off for your purchase. But thanks again for stopping by and checking out my project. Here's some close-ups, and there will be some pictures at the end. Bye.